The elected one, all the alliances formed behind closed doors in the lobbies turned against you. Files were prepared, signatures were signed, lies were woven like a chain. But there was one thing they forgot. You have the seal of the heavens on you. While their conspiracies were out of your reach, you thwarted all their plans with a single move. Now the stage is yours. Their trembling resonates in the silence of the square. Write 555 in the comments now, because no matter how much they united, they could not stand in front of divine destiny. Acte are tired munit. This video will reveal the behind the scenes of that epic victory. Get ready to feel the power that lifts your spirit. Imagine a farmer standing in his field, watching as dark clouds gather on the horizon. He hears the distant rumble, not of a little drizzle, but of a storm sent to water every seed he's planted. A wave of abundance so powerful that nothing can stop the harvest from breaking through. That's how God handles justice for the chosen. Retribution doesn't trickle in slow and quiet. When heaven moves on your behalf, it rolls in like a flood that sweeps away every stone in your path. That's the divine forecast for those who tried to twist your blessings into curses. The minute they set their hands against you, the weather changed. Instead of a gentle breeze they could ignore, they got caught in the middle of a spiritual hurricane. The ones who once whispered behind your back and planned your downfall suddenly found themselves standing in the center of God's mighty wind. They tried to build walls against you, but the floodgates of justice broke those barriers apart, piece by piece, until every accusation, every sly remark, every hidden scheme was washed out into the open for all to see. Think about the old stories, where people would challenge the storm, thinking they could outrun lightning. That's what happened here. They underestimated the force behind your life. While they were busy counting your mistakes and hoping you'd fall, they didn't see the clouds gathering behind them. Every time they pressed harder, heaven's hand pressed back, turning what they thought would be their victory lap into a lesson they'll never forget. You see, the chosen ones aren't just survivors. You're like a lighthouse built on a rock, shining through every gale, every squall. The more they tried to drown you out, the brighter your testimony became. God used the very things that were meant to break you to build a platform beneath your feet. Every word of slander became a stone in your foundation. Every betrayal only made your roots dig deeper until you were anchored so strong that no storm could tear you down. What looked like defeat was really the setup for a comeback. The harder the opposition pushed, the more you discovered what you were really made of. While they scrambled to find explanations, you stood tall, like an oak tree that doesn't just withstand the wind, but spreads its branches wider because of it. The wind only made you stronger. Now, as the dust settles, look at what remains. Their plans, once so carefully crafted, have fallen apart in their own hands. The battle they thought they were winning has turned into a lesson for them, not for you. While they chase after reasons and excuses, you walk forward into new territory with the kind of confidence that only comes from having weathered the storm and come out the other side shining brighter than ever. This is more than payback. It's a testimony. Your life is the evidence that no curse can take root where God has already planted blessing. You are living proof that when people try to block your sunlight, God just grows you taller. When they tried to chain your future, heaven sent a wave to break you free. And beloved, you didn't just survive, you thrived. Every wave they sent to drown you became a step you walked on, just like Peter walking on the water. While their heads are spinning, trying to understand how you're still standing, you know the secret. You're carried by a promise no storm can break. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. Don't waste a moment waiting for their approval or their apology. The same wind that scattered their plans is filling your sails. God is turning the story around. Instead of shame, you're getting double honor. Instead of sorrow, you're reaping joy. Instead of loss, you're receiving harvest, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Lift your head and keep walking. Every trial was preparation. Every setback was a setup. Every headwind was heaven's way of steering you right where you're meant to be. The storm was never meant to destroy you. It was sent to clear your path. And now, as the sun breaks through the clouds, your testimony is visible for all to see. A rainbow stretched over your story, a promise that the days of lack and struggle are over, and new beginnings have arrived. You are not defined by what they did. You are marked by what God has done, and what He's still about to do. So walk on, chosen one. There's more for you on the other side of this storm than you ever imagined. The harvest is ready, the blessing is here, and your enemies can't do a thing about it. Imagine the way the morning sun dissolves the thickest fog on a sleepy farm. No matter how much darkness tried to huddle in secret corners, the light finds every last bit and sweeps it away. That's how your truth is working right now. Every accusation they hurled, every stone of slander they tried to bury you with, is now scattered at their own doorstep. Not a single shadow can withstand the brilliance that radiates from your spirit. It's like standing under a midday sky where no lie can linger, no rumor can take root. Those who once whispered in dimly lit rooms now squint in the open, exposed and powerless under the clarity you bring. Even the devices they trusted to cloak their schemes, phones, computers, locked apps, have failed to shield their intentions. What was manipulated in the dark, what was altered and hidden, has all come out under a harvest sun that leaves nothing to question. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Just as a farmer watches the stalks stand tall after a storm has passed, your reputation not only endures, but grows stronger for having weathered these trials. Screenshots, voice messages, and altered records that once seemed like weapons against you are now receipts of your vindication. Clear proof that what was meant to shame you only carved your story deeper into the tapestry of purpose. This is your season to shine in the wide open, not because you fought for approval, but because God Himself wrote your name in light the world can't dim. You stand as living evidence that what rises in the truth always outlasts what tries to hide in shadows. Beloved, you're not just coming out of the storm. You're stepping into a wide new field of influence, where the testimony of your endurance becomes a beacon for those who still sit in darkness. Your light is not only for your own deliverance, but it's the dawn that others have been praying to see. That's what it means to be chosen in this season. Let every stone, every slander, every attempt to erase you become a stepping stone in the path God already prepared for your feet. You are the living sunrise, and no night can hold you back. Like the old farmer who knows which way to plow by the way the morning dew clings to the wheat, your spirit has always been tuned to the sacred frequency of heaven's guidance. Intuition for you was never a fleeting guess. It was the lighthouse beam breaking through fog, showing safe harbor before the rocks appeared. Those moments when the room chilled and a shiver danced across your shoulders, when a still small voice in your chest urged caution, or when your soul recoiled from a handshake or a stare. That was the Spirit's way of steering you from unseen traps. You are the living proof that spiritual radar is as real as the sun rising in the east. While you patiently tended to the garden of your purpose, watering dreams with tears and hope, there were others, bitter and unhealed, who slipped salt into your furrows, hoping nothing good would ever sprout. Each new breakthrough, every promotion, each moment of gratitude became a magnet for their silent jealousy. But just as the deepest roots are forced to stretch and strengthen in drought and storm, your faith pressed deeper into the living water. Where others withered, you flourished. Your harvest wasn't handed to you, it was prayed over, fought for, and defended against every wind of opposition. Now, as the storm clouds roll away, it is not the scorched earth that is left behind, but a garden in full bloom, a testament to resilience and the fruit of patience. Every plot to twist your joy into a spectacle, every attempt to uproot your destiny, now stands exposed under the clear light of morning. The evidence is not just in what survived, but in what flourished: joy that outlasted gossip, favor that overrode slander, blessings that multiplied under pressure. Let your journey stand as a living parable. Storms reveal what roots are anchored in the truth. You are not here by accident. Every warning, every inner nudge, every sleepless night spent in prayer was a map written by the divine. And in this new season, when others look for the cause of your unexplainable victories, you'll point not to luck or chance, but to the one who ordered your steps, even through the valley, even in the shadows. The record of truth now stands unshakable, and the roots of your destiny are holding strong, ready for the next season's harvest. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. Picture a stage where the maestro's baton freezes mid-air. Every hidden plot, every secretive nod, now under the gaze of heaven's great spotlight. Just as the conductor's hand is finally exposed when the music abruptly halts, so too is the one who orchestrated your hardship forced to stand alone in the glare of revealed truth. Those who used to gather in dark corners to whisper strategies of sabotage now find their voices trembling in open daylight, their former schemes tumbling like fallen sheet music at their feet. What was once a secret society of slanderers becomes a public display where every lie they scripted, every sideways glance they traded, comes home to roost. Like a lantern shining into a midnight alley, the light that always burned within you exposes what was hidden behind locked doors and guarded hearts. Friends who turned into silent judges now hear their own words returned in the courtroom of consequences. The accusations, the rumors, the sly alliances, all unmasked for the audience of the world to see. Those who tried to stifle your spark are left blinking, bewildered by a radiance that will not be contained or controlled. You are the unwavering flame that storms cannot snuff out, the living testament that God's favor turns every curse into a coronation. The hands that tried to build barriers around your destiny now find themselves powerless before the light of justice. Beloved, the final verdict is written not in ink, but in illumination, and the very ones who plotted your end must watch as your story turns to glory in front of their eyes. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. And through it all, just as a lighthouse stands firm while tempests batter the coast, your spirit stands tall, guiding others safely home with a steady, unbreakable light. In this new dawn, you are both the survivor and the sign, the living proof that no shadow can ever overtake what is anchored in the eternal. This is your moment of divine recognition, when every attempt to hide you only makes your brilliance more undeniable. Imagine a mighty oak tree, planted deep in sacred soil, standing tall through every season, wind, rain, and the wildest storms. Through the ages, folks have tried to cut it down, hang new signs on its trunk, or cover its roots with brambles and weeds. But in the end, storms come and go, branches sway, and the winds howl, but the oak just digs deeper, growing stronger. That's what your journey has been. No matter how much the world tried to reshape your story, the core of who you are stayed unmovable, untouched, and undeniably rooted in something divine. See, when people built their crooked houses and set up carnival mirrors all around you, trying to twist your image and warp your words, they didn't realize you were growing stronger with every false reflection. For every label they tried to slap on your life, too much, not enough, too loud, too quiet, heaven was already writing a new chapter under your name, a story that couldn't be cancelled, tarnished, or erased. Those who thought they were weaving a web to hold you down found themselves entangled by their own threads. They thought they were stacking the deck, setting up no-win situations where you'd stumble no matter how you moved. But you kept walking, rooted in something they couldn't see, a promise that held you upright when all the illusions shattered. They called you too sharp when you spoke up, and too tender when you stayed silent, never realizing you were being shaped for something higher, not for their approval, but for God's assignment. Your smiles, called fake by critics, were really beams of hope, shining in places where darkness tried to settle. Your quietness, called cold by gossipers, was the stillness of a soul, listening for the next instruction from above. When the music stopped and the masks dropped, when every crooked mirror finally hit the ground, the only thing left standing was the reflection God placed within you before the world even knew your name. It's like being the last standing pillar after the storm, the one structure left in a field of broken walls and fallen roofs. That's you, chosen one. You didn't just endure. You became the signpost that points back to truth for everyone who watched you stand through it all. Your life is a sermon without a microphone, a testimony written in roots and resilience. While others fumbled with their masks, you stood clothed in a covering that can't be borrowed or bought, a grace that marks the called. In this season, manipulation has reached its limit. The world's had enough of foggy mirrors and trick doors. Now, every eye turns to the one who never needed a disguise. Your God-given identity is shining through the rubble, lighting up the path for others to finally see truth, integrity, and steadfast love. And the most beautiful part? The storm didn't make you. It only revealed what was already planted inside you all along. So walk on, mighty oak. Stand tall and steady, because your roots are deeper than deception, and your branches are wide enough to shelter generations. Let them see that when God plants a soul for a purpose, no storm, scheme, or shadow can ever uproot what He's ordained. Your unshakable spirit is living proof that the world can twist the truth, but it can never change the one who was chosen from the very beginning. Picture a farmer standing at the edge of his field just before sunrise, hands thick with the memory of hard work, seeds buried deep, storms weathered, and yet not a single shoot has dared to breach the surface until today. Because, beloved, the universe never loses track of a single seed, and what was buried in darkness was only waiting for its appointed time to rise. Nothing gets past the principle of divine return. Every move made in secret, sly little deadlines changed in the night, quiet doubts sown like weeds among your roots, bogus records slipped into the files, might have seemed invisible to ordinary eyes. But heaven saw every act, and the field that was meant to be salted for your ruin is now green with redemption. The moment they started rigging the books, they began writing their own correction. Those hands that scattered confusion found themselves clutching at nothing. For every whispered lie, the winds of truth carried your name farther, louder, brighter. The more they twisted the rules to box you in, the more the hinges of the old system creaked. It's like trying to block the sunrise with a window shade. The light will find its way, no matter how tightly it's fastened. Every falsified signature, every erased recommendation, every timeline doctored in a back room became, in God's time, the very evidence that flipped the script. The stones they tried to lay in your path became stepping stones for your testimony. The net they wove to catch you tangled up their own feet, and the maze they built became the stage where your story now unfolds. And hear this, in a language even the simplest soul understands. When you walk into a room, you are the scent of rain after a long drought. No one can pretend not to notice. Integrity shines from you like the beacon of a lighthouse, guiding ships home in a midnight storm. That kind of honesty is magnetic. Even family members at odds for decades start to sense hope in your presence, like fractured glass suddenly mending itself when touched by gentle hands. Every conversation you enter, the atmosphere changes, mercy resets the air, and grudges melt away like snow in spring sunshine. Wherever you go, systems start to shift. Old policies that served no one but the powerful begin to bend toward justice because your courage is contagious. The very place where they tried to hush your voice is now where your words carry the most weight. Pastorless visions find fresh direction because your story holds a kind of authority only the furnace of affliction can carve. The same fire that tried to consume you has become the forge that shaped your wisdom. And now, your testimony is a pillar, unshakable, impossible to silence. The devices rigged against you, watch how they become the boomerang that returns to sender. The reviews scrubbed from your file will resurface with interest. The recommendations withheld will be restored by witnesses who can't stay silent any longer. When justice gets involved, hidden things leap into the light, and the truth you stood for rises like a flag at dawn, seen by all, undeniable, carried on every breeze. The harder they worked to build the walls, the more the cracks multiplied until the whole structure collapses, not on you, but on the schemes themselves. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to his plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially, far beyond your expectations. Remember, his protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of his divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as his mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. So, beloved, don't you ever doubt the harvest that's promised to the sower. You are not just surviving sabotage, you are redeeming the very ground where they hoped you'd fall. You're the living answer to prayers prayed in secret, the living proof that what was meant for evil is being turned for good. You're the rain after drought, the sun after storm, the first fruit breaking the earth open to tell the world. Nothing planted in faith, no matter how deeply buried, will stay unseen forever. The season of return is here, and in every corner where your name was whispered in malice, your story will now be told with honor. In every room that closed its doors to your gifts, new doors are opening, and you're walking through with your head high, your hands full, and your spirit shining. What was meant to silence you is amplifying your song, and heaven itself is clapping along. This season is more than payback. It's a call to the real awakened. The family of light, those who have endured and overcome, are being gathered. We don't promise quick fixes or magic pills. We build real shields of wisdom, teach spiritual discernment, and forge unbreakable communities. Those who remember their calling, who feel the deep, soul-level resonance of these words, are being summoned to stand up, to share, and to unite in strength. Together, we are the new foundation, a generation chosen not to retaliate, but to restore. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Warfare in the spirit is won before a shot is fired. When curses are tossed like stones, heaven answers with a wall of protection. Enemies tried incantations, manipulations, and soul contracts, but their arrows bounced back, blessing you instead. Ancient promises in your bloodline woke up and ran to your defense. Even as they tried to cast darkness, you stood as the lighthouse. Every contract they tried to break, every trap they tried to set, snapped back to their own camp. Karmic debts that gathered dust for centuries were paid overnight by those who thought themselves untouchable. You are not standing alone. The ancestors, champions, dreamers, sages from before you were born, have converged like a mighty choir to defend you. Every heartfelt prayer, every late-night tear, every declaration of faith was received and multiplied. The highest courts in creation called a verdict, and it was in your favor. Protection descended not in secret, but like a shield of light for all to see. Every attack only made your covering stronger. Every blow only rang louder in the halls of heaven. When the mighty fall, it's not always with a shout, it's often with a whimper and confusion. Watch as the old alliances fracture. Former plotters turn on each other, secrets leak like water from a broken jug, and shame is broadcast to all who once nodded in silent agreement. The web that was spun so carefully unravels by the hour. The ones who boasted of their control now beg for a clue, a fix, a rescue that will never come. Now, on the ashes of their failed schemes, something holy springs forth. As the weeds of slander are burned away, the ground is made fertile for new relationships and unfiltered blessings. Policy changes in your presence. Healing rushes through family wounds, and churches find fresh vision in your testimony. Your existence is a living signature on God's scroll, marking the dawn of a new era, not just for you, but for everyone who watched your story unfold. Victory is no longer private. Every lesson, every challenge, every moment of pain is now part of a much larger movement. The energy of your comeback sweeps through the community, lighting up other souls who needed your example. The ones who tried to extinguish your fire are left coughing in the smoke of their own making, and every angel in heaven records the outcome in the book of life. Like a sunrise after endless storms, your truth can no longer be ignored or twisted. You are the proof that what was meant for evil is not only reversed, but multiplied into 100 blessings. This is not the end of your story. It's the turning of a cosmic page, and the whole universe pauses to witness as the light breaks through, unstoppable, unfiltered, and crowned with divine favor.